in general, Filipino people are very flexible and very spontaneous. And this is something that the average German person is not. But in the Philippines, it's always you have to go around the problem. And usually you don't even solve that problem. Snow is like sand, but it's white and it's and it melts.
Hi guys, welcome back to Simco, my channel about culture and the Philippines. I have a guest again. It's Lawin. We did already one take last week about the Filipino culture and Germany, and I'm really happy to have you back, Lawin.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. It's been a pleasure, the first episode, and hopefully now we can do it the other way around and also make another interesting episode.
Yeah. We want to shift perspective now and really look on the Philippines from an outsider perspective. Like me as a foreigner, I always will be a foreigner, although I adapted some parts of the Filipino culture already. And there are a lot of people, like a lot of foreign people, Germans, US, Americans, entering the Philippines, and they don't know that much about Filipino people and the Filipino culture. So what should they know about the Philippines prior coming here?
Yeah, okay. So if you're German, one thing that you have to always understand is that I think the people in terms of characteristics couldn't be more different. Like it's very, very extreme, the differences. I think in general, Filipino people are very flexible and very spontaneous. And this is something that the average German person is not. Like you cannot just invite somebody like I can in the Philippines you can invite somebody in the next hour. Hey, come here to my house. Let's do something. Or in the next 30 minutes, easy. But in Germany, like you need to be more structured. You need to have more planning. So maybe you do it like in 2 weeks or a week, but not like in Philippines. Like right now, maybe at 10 o'clock you receive a message to meet at 11 at night to like go out, and that's super normal. So people are quite flexible when it comes to social interactions, and people are very spontaneous. And at the same time, people are very open and very accommodating. Like Filipinos are super open just to do anything. Like I don't know, I'm not sure if you experience this, but sometimes you're just walking down the street and some people will say kain kain, like to join them to eat. And I
Yeah.
don't know who these people are, but they're inviting me to eat with them. And so yeah, this is a very, very Filipino thing. And I think that maybe a lot people who are not from the Philippines might find it super strange and super like outside their comfort zone. But yeah, you have to understand how Filipino are, and that we are just super open people,
Yeah.
and we treat kind of everyone like as a friend, even though we don't know each other. So yeah, it might come across as very shocking, but that's how we are. Yeah.
So for you as a Filipino, for example, if you go down the street and someone asks you, "Oh, kaina, let's eat,"
Yeah.
would you join there, or would you say, "Oh, thank you, I'm fine," or what would be your reaction, your feeling about that?
If it's like super late night, they're probably up to no good. So maybe no. But if it's like in the afternoon, and if it's like in Manila, it doesn't happen as regular. But when I'm outside of like in the province or something, it happens. And sometimes I come and I just sit down for a while, maybe have a bite and then leave, just to say hello and just like yeah. I think it's also, how do you say, respectful if you say yes.
So meaning even if you don't know the people, you could join them. No problem with that.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Or even if I see somebody, like I'd also just like, hey, come join, and maybe get to know them. If they want to be friends, then we can be friends. If not, it's just a show of my accommodatingness. No.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's also really my impression, that it's really easy to come in touch with people, and basically this is something I really like about the Philippines. Um, and then if you like, for example, I work with a Filipino organization, so I have no other Westerners in my team, and what I recognized is somehow, and this would be a really interesting topic for me to ask you, somehow authorities or hierarchy plays a more important role. So it's easy to get in touch with people, but then there are still some specific rules when it comes to hierarchy, when it comes to respect, whether it is in a company, I suppose, whether it is in an NGO like for me, or in family. So how would you describe this difference compared, like for example, for you working in Germany compared to Germany, this difference, or maybe also within a family, what should you be concerned about with your superior, with the people under you, in how you show respect or treat them?
Yeah. So in the Philippines, it's a lot about like you said, like there's always a hierarchy. So there's a lot. It's a lot about age as well, and it's a lot about position. And you'll notice how people kind of talk to you. And I'm sure the Filipino people do this to you, and they just call you sir, sir, and then first name. And this is super common in the Philippines. Like you say, Sir Sim or whatever, Sir Lawin. This is super common, and it just for a lot of Filipino people, it's their way of showing respect, even though maybe you don't know more than them, but because you're older, like automatically you become a sir or something. So this is how it is. And in general, like also in your workplace, if your boss is there, your boss is always sir. You can be friends also, you can be friends with him, but there's also some kind of respect that you have to give him. Even though you're friends, he's still sir whatever. You can meet his family, you can get invited to his home for dinner, but you still kind of have to use certain words to him, and then you always speak to him like in third person, like I don't know. Yeah, you know it in it's the same in German, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So meaning the title in the workplace, or even kuya ate, diba?
Yeah, kuya
It's
ate, exactly.
also a way to appreciate like the people who are older. That's what you said, diba? Older than.
It's all about who's older. It's all about who's older.
Yeah, yeah. So, are there any other ways Filipinos show respect to people they respect, to the age, to the superiors?
Yeah, and a lot of times people are very passive. So for example, if you're more superior and I have my own opinion about something, then I pretty much would just let you lead it, and just keep my opinions to myself, because like as a more higher person in the hierarchy, the expectation is that higher person will make all the decisions. So it's also strange, but you kind of have to work around this
Mm-hmm.
kind of system of hierarchy. And I'm sure you know how it is in with working with Filipinos. Like even though they think of something else, they're not gonna tell you,
Yeah, yeah,
because they expect you as the sir, as the guy who's higher in the hierarchy, to kind of lead them.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
they'll softly kind of influence you, but they'll never really impose something, because you're the kuya, you're the sir, whatever. So yeah.
yeah. That's a really interesting point, because sometimes I wonder also, not only for me, but still, like the boss would need, sometimes he needs feedback from the people below him to make decisions, diba? So how would this work if, like in Germany, if I was the boss, I would just ask, what do
Yeah,
you
I
think,
know.
and
Yeah.
please give me feedback, please give me your input, I need it.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, obviously it doesn't work this way. How would someone in a leading position figure out the information he needs from the people below him?
Yeah, if you want really direct information, if you want really honest information, because if you ask a person, give me feedback, he'll never tell you what's negative. He'll
Yeah.
always say the positive things. If he'll say it, I even was taught how to give feedback. So you always start with positive, in the middle is negative, and then you go positive again. So you always have, this is kind of how I was trained to give feedback. So you'll never get like a really honest feedback unless you have like anonymous, unless it's anonymous,
Mhm.
then maybe they'll be more honest with you. Honestly, yeah, that's how it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Is it common to do it through another person? Like for example, if I have a complaint to my boss, I tell a colleague, and he's going to my boss and telling the boss, okay,
Yeah.
there's an issue.
Now that you say it, that's actually how it happens sometimes, because we're also very like a lot of Filipino people are bad in keeping secrets. So it will like the what like the rumors or the chatter that you start will always find its way to like the person
Uh-huh.
somehow, because people are very talkative, people are too friendly, too open, and that things that you said in confidentiality will later on like find its way to the person.
So even if you didn't intend it, or whether you intended it, doesn't matter. It will come out.
It will it will come out, yeah. Unfortunately.
That's really interesting. Um, this is another huge topic, but maybe we can also like tackle this a little at least.
Yeah,
Like for
yeah.
example, if there is a conflict in the team, in a team, or in a family or whatever, um, how would how would you compare the Filipino way of dealing with it with the German way?
So in Germany, it's very direct. People take problems head on. They take like feedback head on. But in the Philippines, it's always you have to go around the problem, and usually you don't even solve that problem.
Mhm.
So it's super complicated in the Philippines. And in Germany, I find it way more simple. Like this is the problem, there's a solution. In the Philippines, this is the problem. We go around the problem and sometimes go back to a
Mhm.
problem. So the problem is never solved, and it happens because you always have to show respect. You have to always follow the hierarchy, and if you find something that's problematic for you, then you kind of have to just keep it to yourself and be very passive about how things are run. So it is unfortunate that it's like that, and that's one of the things that I learned in Germany actually that I really like, because this way of how we tackle problems in the Philippines, sometimes I can see why it's also positive sometimes, but I also see in general why we still have a lot of problems. It's because people never really solve them because of this way of how we think and how we try to go around problems all the times.
So you're just beating around the bush, and
All the
but
time.
really don't really tackling the issue itself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. What I like about the Filipino way, sometimes I of course there are always two sides, diba?
Yeah.
What I like is sometimes, even for me as a German, sometimes if I get direct feedback from another German, sometimes it's also insulting. So it's really
Super.
super direct, super hard, and yeah, from my experience, this also causes sometimes problems because people feel insulted emotionally, and then you have another problem, although you tackled one.
Yeah.
But I mean, on the other hand, of course, if you don't really address the issue, then yeah, it won't be solved, and this is sometimes the problem here in the Philippines, from what I observed. Just
Yeah, exactly. Like people in the Philippines also like find it very rude if you do this. And in Germany, it's still rude, but it's acceptable. So I think that's the difference. Like in Philippines, it's rude, but it's not really acceptable. In Germany, it's rude. It's still rude, but it's how it is, no?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we talked already about some differences and some things you actually, or traits you really like in Germany, or maybe also
Yeah.
incorporated for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, is there something you would really wish, or a dream you would have for the Philippines? Something they should really adapt from German culture to
Yeah.
progress, or somehow to adapt to their culture.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think both cultures can learn from each other. And I'd like to start with obviously what I already touched on, which was directness. So I wish Filipino people could be more direct sometimes and not always try to follow this hierarchy of being rude or whatever. I also wish that Filipino people could be more punctual. So this is a very German thing, is to be punctual, and I actually needed to adjust to this a lot. But once I got the hang of it, I really realized why people are punctual. It's because you don't want to be selfish. You want to respect that other person's
Mm.
time as well. And the Philippines, I think that we've kind of lost this respect for other people's times. So I wish Filipino people could be more punctual. I also like, so I think in socially Germans are more like individualistic, but
Mm.
in the back of their heads, they also believe in like their role in society. So and you see this a lot in how German people throw their trash. And this is one
Mm.
thing that's super complicated in Germany, is like throwing trash. It's as simple as it may sound. It's not actually that simple. And I got into trouble in the beginning with my neighbors for this. But I like how much effort they put in segregating the trash and putting it in the out in the right time. And the Philippines, like we don't care. Like you just see like the trash is everywhere. And I hope Filipino people like would think more also of this of how their actions affect the community. So yeah, I don't know. What's your experience with this?
Yeah, I totally can relate to these differences and yeah, see the differences. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's one more thing I forgot to say. I also like this culture in Germany of giving gifts. So in the Philippines, like giving gifts is like optional. So if I attend a birthday party, actually I don't need to bring anything. Nothing is expected from me.
Uh-huh.
But in Germany, like it's very, very important that you always bring something to offer. And if it's somebody's birthday, that you put in a lot of effort, and also some money in giving that person a gift to show your appreciation for that person. But in the Philippines, it's like a lot of times it's like our friendship is enough is enough proof of our of our relationship, and like it's optional to give really something that's really meaningful. So I like the fact that I receive like really meaningful gifts sometimes, but I also need to give very meaningful gifts. And in the Philippines, like this culture of gift giving is not as strong, I would say.
Mhm. Yeah, I think from the German perspective, it's somehow also the way of really valuing or appreciating a person to make him a meaningful gift, him or her. Really, the kind of appreciation, actually. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good trait. It's a good trait.
Mm.
And I don't know if you've what's your experience when it's your birthday? Like, do your Filipino friends give you something really meaningful?
No, not really, but I also don't expect it because I think that the way like how I experience is it if I celebrate birthday in a group is that we would have a round of appreciation. So everyone would say or would name a trait of me
Ah,
that's special for him, like that he appreciates, or yeah, that he appreciates from me, like how he sees me, how he perceives me, and yeah, I feel really respected by this. Okay, to wrap it up, I still have some unexpected questions for you.
yeah,
And you should or could answer within only a few words,
yeah.
and it should be really spontaneous.
Hmm.
Okay, are you there? Are you
I'm
on?
ready. I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, describe snow.
Snow is like sand, but it's white, and it's and it melts. And it melts. So that's the big difference. But it's awesome. Snow is awesome. Making your first snowball is awesome.
Yeah, I really miss it as well. So I haven't been in the snow for 6 years now. So yeah. Okay,
Wow. Okay.
next one. Give us a sample of one of the hardest words you learned, German words you learned.
Yeah, I still can't even say it. My how do you say my residence permit? It's like auf something
Residence
titel.
permit,
Yeah.
like Aufenthaltsgenehmigung.
Maybe.
One thing you miss most from the Philippines staying in Germany.
Beaches.
Beaches. Oh yeah.
Beaches. Definitely.
Have you been to the German coast already? Like to the German Sea?
Not yet. I've been to the Dutch one, so North Sea I've been to in
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Texel in the Netherlands.
Yeah, but it's different. It's different.
It's yeah, I know. I should go to yeah, there's some nice islands I heard there with that brew some good beer. So I'll
Yeah.
definitely visit.
One German food that's really ugly for you.
It's really ugly.
Or that could be, maybe that also could be really ugly for other Filipinos to taste.
Yeah, honestly, you have like these meats that you serve it that it's not warm, and it's like inside this gelatin. It's like meat. It's like these cold cuts inside this gelatin. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm talking about? I have no idea what it's called. I've
So
had
it's
it once
it's
in a
really
restaurant.
really fine, like the Leberwurst, or what do you?
It's like leberwurst, but it's inside like gelatin.
Okay, Lawin, thank you very much. I think we are done now. And yeah, if people want to follow you or to listen to your podcast, how to find it best?
Yeah, so you can listen to my podcast called Pop Your Cultural Cherry. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the other podcast streaming platforms. And you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram
Okay. So under the same label of
under the
your.
same label, Popular Cultural Cherry. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, really, thanks for taking time. Thanks for the insights. And I personally took a few learnings, and hopefully for you guys out there, you also got some inspiration about culture, the Philippines, and maybe also Germany. And yeah, see you again next time. Goodbye.